My husband's car was exactly where he said it was. That was the problem. At 9:42 on a Thursday night, I was standing under the blue-white lights of an EV charging station outside a shopping center in Austin, staring at Ryan's silver electric SUV like it had personally betrayed me. Technically, it hadn't. The car was innocent, plugged in, quiet, charging at 64%, according to the app on my phone. Ryan had texted me 12 minutes earlier, still here. Chargers are slow tonight. He even added a little exhausted emoji. Very brave. Very tired. A man fighting electricity for his marriage. I had almost felt guilty for checking. Almost. Then Tara texted me. Don't panic. But your husband just checked into room 714. I read it twice, mostly because the first time, my brain threw the sentence into a drawer and said, no thank you. Tara Collins had been my best friend since college and, unfortunately for Ryan's new hobby, the evening front desk manager at the Lauren near Lady Bird Lake. Tara did not exaggerate. Tara once described a tornado warning as wind being dramatic. So when she said my husband checked into a hotel room, she meant my husband checked into a hotel room. I looked back at the car. Still charging. 65% now. Good for it. At least something in my marriage was improving by the minute. My phone buzzed again. He's not alone. There it was. The sentence that emptied my stomach so fast, I thought I might leave my body standing there beside the charger, like a coat on a chair. Across the street, beyond the traffic and the line of palm trees pretending Austin was Los Angeles, the hotel glowed gold. Expensive. Calm. The kind of place where people ordered room service and destroyed families under nice lighting. I called Ryan. He answered on the third ring, slightly breathless. Hey Meg. Meg. He only called me that when he wanted to sound soft. Still charging? I asked. Yeah, he said. It's ridiculous. I might be another half hour. I stared at the cable plugged into his car. Thick. Black. Honest. How's the station? What? The charger. Oh, fine. Just slow. Behind him, I heard a woman laugh. Small. Close. Not TV. My hand tightened around the phone. Ryan cleared his throat. You okay? I looked at the hotel, then at his car, then at the app, which had just climbed to 66%, the most productive member of our household. Yeah, I said. I'm just wondering something. What? If the car is charging here, I said, what exactly are you recharging in room 714? The line went silent. Not dropped. Silent. There's a difference. One is technology. The other is a man realizing his lie came with valet parking. Before Ryan bought the electric SUV, his lies had less infrastructure. That sounds unfair. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm blaming a vehicle for a grown man's decision to turn marriage into a group activity. But the car gave him something very useful. A location. A believable delay. A little green charging icon that made me feel stupid for doubting him. Ryan loved that car from the moment he drove it home. He stood in our driveway in South Austin, rubbing the hood like he had adopted a very expensive dolphin. It's efficient, he said. It looks like a toaster with opinions, I said. He grinned. You'll love it. I love things that come with cup holders and don't require apps. He kissed my forehead. Back then, that still felt normal. We had been married 7 years. Not perfect years, not movie years, real years. The kind with dental cleanings, clogged gutters, tax folders, and one fight about whether buying a $12 melon from Whole Foods was financial recklessness. Ryan worked as a personal financial advisor, so yes, the melon became a quarterly review. I managed operations at a cosmetic dental clinic near Westlake. My job was basically making sure people got their veneers on time while pretending everyone's emergency was equally dramatic. Ryan was charming in the way financial men learned to be charming. Calm voice, clean shirts, eye contact that made people trust him with retirement accounts and, unfortunately, wedding vows. The charging stops began small. Need to top off the battery, he'd say, grabbing his keys after dinner. At first, he was gone 20 minutes, then 40, then an hour, then long enough for me to watch 2 episodes of a baking show and develop opinions about pastry lamination. I didn't question it much. Electric chargers were slow sometimes, apps glitched, Austin traffic was rude for no reason, and Ryan always had proof. The car was at the station. The app showed it. Case closed, except men like Ryan don't need to hide the whole body. They just need to leave one believable shoe in the hallway. One night in March, he came home after charging and kissed my cheek. His shirt smelled faintly like hotel soap, not cologne, not sweat, That clean, expensive smell of towels folded by someone making $14 an hour and watching strangers ruin their lives. I leaned back. You showered? At the gym. You went to the gym while charging? There's one nearby. I looked at his shoes. Brown loafers. Must have been a powerful workout. He smiled too late. Tiny. A half-second delay. Marriage dies in delays sometimes. Not screams, not shattered plates. Just a smile arriving late with wet hair and no socks in the gym bag. I let it pass. That was my mistake. Well, one of them. I was still being fair. Fairness is adorable when someone else is using it as cover. Tara Collins knew hotel secrets the way bartenders know divorces. Quietly, accurately, with receipts. She worked the evening front desk at the Lauren, a sleek hotel near Ladybird Lake, where the lobby smelled like eucalyptus, money, and people saying just one night, like that had ever improved anything. Tara had been my best friend since freshman year at UT, when she found me crying outside a biology lecture because I had failed my first exam, and also because the vending machine had stolen my Pop-Tarts. She kicked the machine twice, got the Pop-Tarts out, and said, "There. Higher education." A loyal woman, dangerous with snacks. She had met Ryan dozens of times. Weddings, birthdays, backyard dinners, the terrible escape room we all did in 2019 where Ryan took charge and immediately locked us out of the first clue. Tara never fully trusted him after that. Men who announce strategy too early are usually hiding confusion, she told me. I told her she was dramatic. She said, "Thank you." The first time Tara saw Ryan at the hotel, she almost didn't tell me. That part mattered later. It was a Tuesday night in April. He walked in wearing a baseball cap pulled low, like a man who thought cheating came with spycraft. Beside him was Chloe Bennett, a commercial real estate consultant with shiny hair and a white blazer. Tara recognized her too. Austin is large until it gets bored, then suddenly everyone knows everyone through a fundraiser, a realtor, or a taco place. Ryan didn't look at Tara long enough. That was his first mistake. Tara said men who are lying either overperform politeness or act like furniture. Ryan chose furniture. Chloe handled the reservation. "Bennett," she said. Ryan stood beside her, hands in his pockets, staring at a plant like it owed him money. Tara checked them in. Professional smile. Neutral voice, room 714. When Chloe asked, "Do you validate parking?" Tara said, "For guests, yes," and later told me she deserved an award for not adding, emotionally or legally. She didn't call me that night because she was not sure. That sounds weak until you understand friendship. Tara knew if she was wrong, she could plant a suspicion in my marriage that would never fully die. She knew I would laugh it off and then lie awake forever. So she waited. She watched. 2 weeks later, Ryan came in again. Same hotel, different shirt, same woman. This time Chloe said, "Reservation under Carter." Ryan's head snapped toward her. Chloe blinked. "Sorry," she corrected. "Bennett." Tara looked at Ryan. Ryan looked at Tara. And for 1 second, he recognized her. I know he did because Tara said his face performed all 5 stages of grief in business casual. Still, he said nothing. Neither did Tara. Not there. Not in front of Chloe. Not with hotel cameras and rich people dragging luggage past a disaster. She simply handed them the key cards and said, "Enjoy your stay." Then she went into the back office, locked the door, and texted me. "Don't panic." Which, honestly, was rude. There is no calm way to receive a sentence built like a loaded gun. By the time Tara texted me, I had already started suspecting myself. That is the stupid little trick of betrayal. Before you find evidence, you become your own defense attorney for the person hurting you. Ryan was late. He works hard. Ryan smelled like unfamiliar soap. Maybe the gym upgraded. Ryan's phone face down on the counter. Maybe screens need privacy now. Very modern. Very stupid. I wrote a text once. "Are you really charging the car?" Then I stared at it until the words looked insane. I deleted it. Then I typed, "Drive safe," much healthier, very mature. A woman calmly feeding herself crumbs and calling it dinner. The thing was, the app always showed the car at the charging station. That made me feel ridiculous. At 8:30, Ryan would say, "I'm heading out to charge." At 8:43, the car would appear on the map at the station near South Lamar. At 9:10, he would text, "Still waiting." And I would sit at home looking at his little car icon thinking, "See? You're being paranoid." I even defended him to Mrs. Porter. Elaine Porter lived next door, retired from teaching middle school and now dedicated to monitoring our street with the focus of a federal agency and the wardrobe of a garden club president. One Saturday morning, I was dragging trash bins to the curb when she leaned over her roses and said, "Ryan looked very nice last Tuesday." "Nice? Changed shirts in the garage." I paused. Mrs. Porter clipped a dead rose with tiny silver scissors. Blue button down, then the gray jacket, the one that makes him look like he sells waterfront property to divorced men. I stared at her. She smiled. "No offense." "None taken. Weirdly specific, though. I notice things." "Yes, I've heard retirement is basically surveillance with hydration." She ignored that. "He said he was going to charge the car." My stomach tightened. He probably was. "Oh, I'm sure the car was very charged." At the time, I laughed because I didn't know what else to do. Later that night, Ryan kissed my shoulder while I was loading the dishwasher. "Miss me?" I looked at him. Such a strange question from someone who had just been gone 2 hours. "You were charging a car, not deployed." He smiled. I hated that smile suddenly. Not because it was cruel, because it was easy. He took a mint from the little bowl near the door. Ryan loved those chalky peppermint candies restaurants gave out with checks. He kept them in his car, his desk, his pockets. I used to find them everywhere. In the laundry, in suit jackets, once in the bed, which felt like sleeping beside a very small, judgmental stone. When he went upstairs, I picked up one from the bowl and put it in my mouth. It tasted like sugar and dental office waiting rooms. The next day, Tara called during my lunch break. "Hypothetical," she said. "I hate when you start like that. If a husband was at a hotel, but his car was somewhere else, would you want to know?" My fork stopped halfway through a salad I did not want. I said, "Tara." She went quiet. That was when I knew the hypothetical had a room number. Tara sent the photo at 9:46. 4 minutes after, I was already standing beside Ryan's charging car, pretending my knees belonged to someone else. The picture was taken from the hotel's lobby camera, angled down toward the elevators. Ryan wore a navy shirt. Chloe wore a green dress. His hand was on the small of her back. Not accidental, not friendly, not she almost tripped and I heroically prevented a lawsuit. His hand knew the address. I zoomed in. Terrible idea. Everyone tells you not to zoom in on pain. No one listens. He looked relaxed. That was what made my throat close. Not guilty, not nervous, relaxed, like he had set down the part of himself that belonged to me and walked into the elevator lighter. Tara texted, "I'm coming down the side entrance. Stay there." I looked at Ryan's car again. 68%. Still charging. Very committed. I wondered how long he had planned this. Park the car, plug it in, walk 6 minutes to the hotel. Meet Chloe. Let the app babysit the lie. Honestly, it was efficient. Disgusting, but efficient. A financial advisor's affair, diversified risk, low overhead, one plug-in alibi. My phone buzzed. "Ryan, you still up?" I laughed out loud. A man in room 714 asking if his wife was still up. The poetry was almost insulting. I typed yes, then nothing. I wanted to type, "So is Chloe apparently." I didn't. Not yet. Tara appeared near the corner of the hotel walkway, wearing her black blazer and name tag, face tight. She crossed the street fast, dodging traffic with the confidence of a woman who had dealt with drunk wedding guests. When she reached me, she didn't hug me first. She looked at my face and said, "Do you want facts or comfort?" I swallowed. "Facts. Good. Comfort makes me weird." That almost broke me. I laughed, and it came out thin and ugly. Tara stood beside me, both of us staring at the car. Room 714, checked in under Bennett. Card on file ends in 4408. "That's our secondary card." Her jaw tightened. "Meg, say it." "He's paying with your money." The station hummed softly. An electric hymn for idiots. I looked at the hotel. "Can you get in trouble for telling me?" "Yes." "Then why did you?" She turned to me like I had said something deeply stupid. "Because you're my person." There it was. The thing that hurt worse than the photo for 1 second. Kindness. Betrayal bruises you. Kindness finds the bruise and presses gently. My phone rang. Ryan again. I answered. "Hey," he said, "too soft." "Hey, I'm still at the charger." I stared at Tara. She looked at the sky like God needed to restrain her. "How slow is it?" I asked. "Really slow." "Must be frustrating." "Yeah, I'll be home soon." Behind him, I heard water running. A shower. I closed my eyes, then opened them because I was done giving darkness free labor. "Ryan," I said. "Tara works the front desk." Silence. A long one. Then, very quietly, he said, "What?" I looked at the hotel's 7th floor. She says hi. Ryan did not come downstairs immediately. Of course he didn't. Men who get caught need a few minutes to put pants on their lies. I sat in my car in the hotel parking garage with Tara in the passenger seat. She had brought me a paper cup of lobby coffee which tasted like burned beans in corporate sadness. "Drink," she said. "I'm not thirsty." Neither are plants in offices. Still helps them survive. I took a sip. Awful. Helpful. My hands were shaking, so I held the cup with both of them. A tiny mint candy sat in the cup holder, one of Ryan's, probably fallen from his pocket weeks earlier. I picked it up, stared at it, then put it back. I don't know why. Grief does inventory. Tara watched the elevator feed on her phone. "Still upstairs," she said. "Maybe he's escaping through the window. 7th floor. If he does, I'll allow it." I laughed, then stopped, then laughed again because my body had apparently chosen an unlicensed emotional setting. Ryan called. I put him on speaker. "Megan?" Full name, bad sign. "Ryan, where are you?" "Near your car." He exhaled. "Okay, listen, I can explain." "Perfect. I love educational content," Tara mouthed. "Nice. It's not what you think." I looked at her. She shook her head like a disappointed teacher. "Ryan," I said, "I am sitting in the hotel garage where my best friend watched you check into room 714 with Chloe Bennett. So unless this is a surprise seminar on poor impulse control, it is exactly what I think." He went quiet, then tried a different door. "I was going to tell you." "When?" "I don't know." "After the car hit 100%? Tara covered her mouth. "Not well." He heard her. "Is Tara with you?" "Yes." Shocking, I know. Women talk when men outsource honesty to security cameras. "Megan, please come up so we can talk privately." "No." "Please." No, private was how men like Ryan rearranged the furniture of truth. Alone he could soften it, trim it, put a sad lamp in the corner and call it a mistake. I wanted fluorescent lighting, witnesses, bad coffee, reality with no throw pillows. "I'll come down," he said. "Bring Chloe?" "What?" "She checked in, she can check out." "Megan, don't do this." That phrase. Don't do this. As if I had booked the room. As if I had plugged in the car and walked to another woman. I leaned back against the seat and looked through the windshield. Across the garage, the elevator doors opened. Ryan stepped out first. Navy shirt, damp hair, no jacket. Chloe followed him in the green dress from the photo, holding her purse like it might protect her from consequences. Tara sat up. "Well," she said, "look who descended from Mount Dumbass." I opened the car door. My legs felt unreliable, but they worked. Ryan saw me and stopped. Chloe looked smaller in person. Good. Some people should. I walked toward them with the coffee still in my hand, because apparently I needed a beverage for the collapse of my marriage. Ryan said, "Meg." I held up one finger, then turned to Chloe. "You're Chloe Bennett." She swallowed. "Yes. You liked my anniversary post last month." Her face went pale. Ryan closed his eyes. I nodded. "Great, just checking which version of trash we were working with." Chloe tried to cry before I finished speaking. I respected the effort. Bad timing, but initiative. "Megan," she said, "I didn't know everything." Tara made a small sound behind me. It was almost a laugh, but meaner. Efficient. I looked at Chloe's green dress, her delicate necklace, the nude heels that probably cost more than my last dental cleaning. She looked like a woman who moisturized before making terrible decisions. "What part didn't you know?" I asked. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Ryan stepped forward. "Don't attack her." I stared at him. Really looked. My husband was defending his hotel guest in a parking garage while his car was charging across the street like a loyal little idiot. "Ryan," I said, "you are standing between your wife and your mistress in loafers with no socks. Be careful choosing a tone." Tara whispered, "No notes." Chloe's eyes filled. "He told me you two were basically separated." I laughed. The sound bounced off the concrete. "Separated? That's funny. We shared a Costco membership and a toothbrush holder this morning." Ryan rubbed his forehead. "We've been unhappy," he said. "We've been married," I said. "Those are not synonyms." Chloe looked at me then, really looked. And I saw it. She had known enough. Maybe not the whole thing. Maybe Ryan had fed her the classic married man tasting menu. Lonely, misunderstood, sleeping in separate rooms emotionally, wife too busy, connection missing, blah blah blah, served with hotel soap. But she knew I existed. She knew my name. She had liked my photos. She had stood beside me at a commercial real estate mixer 6 months earlier, holding a plastic cup of white wine, and said, "Your ring is gorgeous." I remembered suddenly. Her fingers had touched my hand. "You said something to me," I said. Chloe froze. "At the downtown mixer, you looked at my ring and said, 'You're lucky. Men who plan ahead are rare.'" Tara's eyebrows shot up. "Oh, that's nasty." Chloe looked down. Ryan said, "That was before." "Before what? Before the planning?" The garage smelled like oil, wet concrete, and the death of excuses. Ryan tried to take my hand. I stepped back. "No," his face folded. "I made a mistake." "That's what people say when they send the wrong email, Ryan. You created a transportation-based adultery system." Tara nodded, with charging updates. Chloe wiped under one eye. I turned to her again. "I'm not going to pretend he didn't lie to you too. I'm sure he did. He lies with spreadsheets. Very on brand." Ryan flinched. "But you saw my marriage and still walked toward it in heels." Chloe whispered, "I'm sorry." I believed she was sorry. Now, that did not impress me. Regret after being caught is just fear wearing perfume. Ryan said, "Can we go home?" Home. The word almost took my knees out. I thought of our kitchen, the mint bowl by the door, his shoes under the bench, my mug in the sink, the ordinary things waiting innocently for bad news. "No," I said. "Meg, please." "No, you can go get your car when it's done pretending to be your conscience." Tara choked. I reached into my purse, pulled out my house key, and removed Ryan's car key from my keyring. My fingers slipped twice. Of course they did. Real life hates clean exits. I dropped the car key into his hand. "Charge it all the way," I said. "You'll need something reliable tonight." Then I walked back to my car. My legs shook only after I sat down. Very considerate of them. I slept at Tara's apartment that night. Slept is generous. I lay on her couch under a blanket that smelled like lavender detergent and watched a ceiling fan rotate with the emotional range of a witness protection program. At 2:11 a.m., I sat up and said, "I think I'm fine." From her bedroom, Tara yelled, "That is the official mating call of women who are absolutely not fine." Fair. Ryan texted 17 times, "I'm sorry. Please come home." Nothing happened with Chloe tonight. That one made me laugh so hard I scared Tara's cat. Nothing happened tonight. The legalism of it, like adultery, needed a timestamp to become real. In the morning, Tara made coffee and toast. She burned the first slice, scraped it with a knife, and handed it to me anyway. "Breakfast of emotionally demolished champions," she said. I ate it, mostly because chewing gave my mouth a job besides asking questions I already knew the answers to. Then I opened the bank account. Ryan was careful, not smart. Careful. Hotel charges did not say the Lauren. They appeared under the management company name, Barton Hospitality Group. It sounded harmless. Businesslike. The kind of charge you ignore because adult life is full of boring names taking your money. There were 6 charges. 6. Not 1, not 2. 6. Some were labeled in Ryan's notes as client parking. One said dinner consult. One, the night of our anniversary, said charging issue. I stared at that one longest. Our anniversary. Ryan had given me earrings at dinner, kissed me across a candle, then said he needed to stop and charge the car before we drove home. I had taken a rideshare because I had an early meeting. He had gone to Chloe. I actually whispered, "Oh," tiny word. Pathetic little balloon losing air. Tara sat beside me. "Do not make that sound alone." "I'm not alone. I know, I'm being dramatic. Let me have something." We printed everything at the leasing office downstairs because Tara's printer had been emotionally offline since 2021. The machine jammed twice. Of course, even office equipment wanted me to fight for clarity. By noon, we were in Nina Alvarez's office. Nina was a family lawyer with blunt bangs, red glasses, and the posture of someone who had watched too many men underestimate women with folders. She reviewed the statements quietly, then looked up. "Do you want to save the marriage, or do you want to stop blaming yourself?" I blinked. That's a strange question. It usually isn't. I looked down at the papers. 6 charges, 1 husband, 1 car doing honest work as an alibi. "I don't know yet," I said. That was the truth. Not empowering, not cinematic. Just ugly and damp and sitting in my throat. Nina nodded. "Good, then we document before we decide." As we left, Tara handed me another mint from her purse. "Why do you have this?" "Stole it from Ryan's car." I stared. She shrugged. "Evidence-adjacent snack." I put it in my mouth. It tasted terrible. I needed that. Something bitter enough to match the day. Ryan came home 2 days later with groceries. Not flowers this time. Progress, maybe. Or he had realized flowers were too easy to throw. I was standing at the kitchen counter with Nina's folder open beside a cold cup of coffee. The house smelled normal. That offended me. Betrayal should leave a smell. Smoke, maybe. Melted plastic. Something to warn visitors. Ryan held up a paper bag. I got your oat milk. I looked at him. That's brave, leading with dairy alternatives. His face crumpled a little. I hated that part. Not enough to comfort him, but enough to feel tired. I want to talk, he said. So talk. He glanced at the folder. Without a courtroom starter kit. No, he set the groceries down slowly. I ended it with Chloe. Congratulations on closing the hotel branch. Megan, sorry. Sarcasm is cheaper than medication. He pulled out a chair and sat. I was lonely. There it was. The national anthem of men in trouble. I laughed once. You were lonely, so you built a charging station-based affair route? I know it sounds bad. No, Ryan, it sounds organized. He looked at his hands. I didn't plan for it to go that far. 6 hotel charges. He swallowed. I slid the printed statements across the counter. His eyes landed on the anniversary charge. Good. Let it look at him too. You said the charger was broken that night, I said. I know. You let me take a rideshare home on our anniversary so you could meet her. He covered his face. I wanted to feel victory. I felt nauseous. Then the doorbell rang. Ryan looked up. I walked to the door. Mrs. Porter stood there holding a small USB drive between 2 fingers like she was presenting classified evidence to Congress. Elaine? I thought you might need this. Behind me, Ryan went very still. Interesting. Mrs. Porter looked past me at him. I don't enjoy being right about men, she said. It's repetitive. I took the drive. What is it? Doorbell camera, garage side view, last 6 weeks. Ryan changing shirts before his charging trips. Ryan stood. Mrs. Porter, that's not? She raised one hand. I taught 7th grade for 31 years. Do not try that voice with me. Tara, on speakerphone from my counter, shouted, I love her. I had forgotten she was still on the call. Human chaos, very on brand. Ryan stared at the USB. I turned to him. This was the only thing in this marriage actually connected, I said. He frowned. What? I pointed toward the garage. The charging cable. His face drained. Not because the line was clever, because he finally understood I was no longer confused. Confusion had been his best friend. Now it had left the room, probably with Tara, for tacos. Ryan whispered, What do you want? I looked around the kitchen. The mint bowl. The grocery bag. The folder. The man I had trusted standing inside a house he had used as a waiting room. I want you to leave tonight, I said. He closed his eyes. And tomorrow, I added, you can start explaining to Nina how many times our money paid for your recharging. The divorce was not explosive. I almost wish it had been. Explosions are simple. Loud, bright, over quickly. Divorce was more like a slow leak under the sink. Expensive, irritating, and somehow always worse when you looked closer. Ryan tried to frame it as a mistake. Nina framed it as repeated misuse of marital funds with supporting documentation. I liked Nina's version better. The hotel charges were reimbursed in the settlement. Not because the money fixed anything, it didn't. But there is something deeply satisfying about watching a man pay back the exact cost of his own stupidity. Chloe disappeared from the commercial real estate project she had been working on with Ryan's clients. I never knew if she left by choice or because people in Austin talk faster than traffic moves on I-35. Either way, she sent me one email. I believed him when he said you were already done. I read it while standing in my kitchen, eating shredded cheese from the bag. A dark moment. A dairy-based low point. I didn't reply. Some doors don't need closure. They need locks. Ryan's reputation took a hit. Personal financial advisors are supposed to be good with trust. Turns out, clients get funny when they learn their money guy used family accounts to hide hotel rooms. Who could have predicted? Besides everyone. The SUV became a fight for about 10 minutes until Nia pointed out that my name was on the title too, and I had made more payments than Ryan remembered. He remembered many things poorly once documents entered the room. I kept the car. Not for sentimental reasons, for spite at first, then practicality, then, eventually, because it was just a car. On my first night alone in my new apartment near Zilker, I drove it to the same charging station. I thought it would feel dramatic. It mostly felt inconvenient. One charger was broken. Another had a man sitting in his truck loudly eating chips. The app wouldn't connect for 3 minutes. I stood there holding the cable, whispering, "Please do not become a metaphor." It became a metaphor anyway. The cable clicked in, the screen lit up, charging. I sat in the driver's seat with gas station coffee and a breakfast taco wrapped in foil, because healing is important, but so is salsa. My phone buzzed. "Ryan?" I didn't answer. Then Tara texted, "You alive?" I sent back a photo of the charging screen. 72%. She replied, "Look at you. Recharging without adultery." I laughed out loud, alone in the car, under ugly station lights, with coffee too hot and mascara slightly under one eye. Not healed, not yet. But laughing. That counted. The battery climbed. 73, 74. No hotel across the street mattered anymore. No room number, no woman in a green dress, no husband turning electricity into an alibi. Just me, my car, and the strange relief of knowing the only thing plugged in that night was honest. When the battery hit 100, I didn't rush home. I sat there a few extra minutes. Because I could. Because nobody was lying to me about where they were. Because silence for once was not suspicious, it was mine. 3 months later, Tara and I met at a taco truck on South Lamar after her shift. She ordered 3 tacos and called it emotional meal prep. I ordered 2 and stole half of hers because divorce had made me brave and annoying. Ryan had sent one long apology email that week. Subject line: "I finally understand." I did not open it for 2 days. Then I read the first paragraph, saw the words, "I lost myself," and closed it. Men are always losing themselves in very specific hotel rooms. Mrs. Porter continued her neighborhood surveillance career with dignity. She brought me a potted basil plant and said, "For your new place. Also, your upstairs neighbor wears loud shoes." I thanked her for both the plant and the intelligence briefing. The electric SUV still annoyed me sometimes. The charging app froze. The seats remembered Ryan's settings. Once it suggested his favorite route, and I told the dashboard to mind its business. But slowly, it became mine. One Friday night, I parked at a charger near the river, rolled the windows down, and let Austin's warm air move through the car. The battery reached 100%. I stayed anyway. Not waiting. Just sitting. For the first time in a long time, I was not tracking anyone, proving anything, or trying to make a lie make sense. I was simply there. Fully charged. Mostly human enough.